Hello and welcome to an Avid webinar. We're glad that you're joining us today, and we've got a lot that we are going to cover today. My name is Nathan Hill. I'm joined by my friend Bryce Johnston from Brad Cecil and Associates. Welcome, Bryce. How you doing?
Doing great. Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to dive in. We've got, again, a lot that we're going to cover today. I'll go ahead and throw our kind of title slide up. We're going to talk about automation. We're going to talk about donor upgrades. We're going to talk about donor retention and how all these things are actually interconnected and very related to each other. Bryce is going to unpack a case study of some really cool work that he's been doing with the Brad Cecil team, working with some nonprofits to go automate some donor upgrade strategies that are leading to this like whopping 200% increase in retention, which is like just a wild number, but it's very true. And Bryce is going to unpack that for us. And we're going to talk about how automation is powering all of this throughout our time together today. So we're going to try to make the most of your time. We're really grateful for you choosing to spend some time with us today. I would love for you to jump into the chat and let us know a couple of things so we can get to know you. Number one, who are you? What's your name? What organization are you from? And it is now officially fall. So I'd love to know, what's your favorite fall activity? Fall has definitely become like my favorite season of the year. It used to be summertime and all that kind of stuff, but now it's like I love fall for like a million reasons. It's just fun to see the leaves changing. It's pretty and all that kind of stuff. It's also, for me, it's like the ski season is something I get really excited about now. And like we're right on the verge of that. I love all things pumpkin. We could talk a lot about that for a long time, but I love all pumpkin things, and like it's time for that. So Bryce, what about you? Is fall your thing? What are your favorite fall activities?
Fall is definitely my thing. So one, we're in Dallas, so it doesn't feel like fall yet. It's still in the 90s, but I'm with you on some of the pumpkin things, stuff like that. The thing I love most about fall though is definitely football. Football is
Mm.
here. I love it. Unfortunately, I am a Cowboys fan, so that is not great for my team. We're struggling a little bit this year, but love me some football.
Well, I'm sure you will have some people in the chat right there with you. I see Tom from Mountain States Legal. He's out here in Colorado. Hey, Tom, I'm here as well with you. Loves hiking the Colorado mountains, especially in the fall. You see all those colors changing. That's one of my favorite things about living out here is like every season it's always a little different. We've got Cameron from Goldwater, says fall baking. Ooh, what kind of things do you like to bake, Cameron? Let us know. Sarah, Sarah from Brad Cecil, love the baked goods that come with fall. Chris from
Oh
Parents Can in Napa, still hot, so it doesn't feel like fall yet. Sorry. But, come on out to Colorado. We'll show you some fall colors. It's pretty fun. Well, lots of folks jumping in here. Any of these that stand out to you? We've got
Oh, Chris
Carissa.
is a Packers fan. That's unfortunate. Y'all got Michael Parsons. We play all this week, so hopefully y'all take it easy on us.
Oh, nice. Well, at least they're in your camp here with football being their favorite. That's for sure. We've got Caitlin Bond. Hey, Caitlin, glad you're here. Glad you're joining us. What's your favorite fall activity, Caitlin? You gotta let us know. Bertha loves making soup. I just made a soup I made a chicken noodle soup because it was like weirdly cold. Like I just need something like nice and warm. It was so good. Soup season is here. Cameron loves pumpkin bread. I'm with you on all the pumpkin stuff.
Mhm.
Love this. Awesome. Well, keep these comments and these thoughts coming. I don't want this to just be a Bryce and I conversation. I want all of you to jump in with your thoughts in the chat as we go. Let us know what you're thinking. If you have concerns, if you have questions, if you have like light bulb moments, put all that in there. We'd love to see that and kind of bring you into this conversation as much as we can. So, all that said, let's go ahead and dive in and get started. If you've never been on an Avid webinar before, we've done a lot of these on LinkedIn. This is the first time we're still broadcasting on LinkedIn, but we've got more of this kind of closed webinar where we can see a lot more comments and hear more from you directly, which is really great. If you've never been on an Avid webinar before, a little bit about Avid. We are the fundraising operating system, and there's a lot we can unpack about what that means. In short, though, for today, we're an AI-powered system that brings all of your different tools together under one roof. All of your donation pages and your donation forms, your CRM systems, your email tools, your advertising tools, analytics, all of that underneath one roof. Usually those tools don't talk to each other very well, if at all. and sort of trying to bring them all together. And not just for the sake of seeing what's happening in your data, but for helping you find where are the opportunities, what are the trends, what are the challenges and the problems that need to be addressed, and using some AI tools and machine learning to spot those right away to help you figure out where can I go next to make the most impact and to grow my revenue. But ultimately, we're using some AI tools to then go help you run the plays, because what we see and what you probably experience is you have all the ideas of things you could be doing to grow giving, but oftentimes we're lacking the time, we're lacking the resources, we're lacking the staff to go execute all the different plays. But we're living in 2025. There's a ton of opportunity for using technology and AI tools to help us automate a lot of this so we can move a lot faster, be more efficient, and ultimately be more effective. So that's Avid in a nutshell. We can unpack that more together if you'd like to. Again, my name is Nathan Hill. If you're just joining us, I oversee all things training related here at Avid, and it's my privilege to be with you today. I'm joined by Bryce Johnston, who's the Digital Strategy Director at Brad Cecil and Associates. Bryce, will you tell us a little bit about yourself and about Brad Cecil?
Yeah. So at Brad Cecil, we have been around since '98, since 1998. We are a direct response firm. Really specializes in both direct mail fundraising as well as digital fundraising. I would say we lean heavily as far as the vertical type of clients that we work with. Health and human services. You know, we're partners with Feeding America. Work with a lot of different food banks, homeless shelters, things like that. And then a little bit about myself. I've been with BCA for 4 years now on our digital team, being able to help lead them and our clients digitally. But been in digital fundraising since 2013. So I know we've had the benefit of working together for a few years, which is great. So now glad to be on the webinar with you here.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you're able to join us. Yeah, Bryce and I go back to even before Brad Cecil days and Avid days, working at a previous employer together, and it's fun to bring the band back together a bit and dive into all things, nonprofit nerdery, fundraising nerdery today. So, again, as we're going through, share your thoughts, share your questions. We're going to keep an eye on all of that stuff as we go. Highlight different ideas that you have, and again, drop them in the chat as often and frequently as you'd like. Makes it a lot more fun for everybody as we're just kind of joining in this conversation together. Where I want to start is a bit of a picture of what fundraising segmentation looks like. And again, Bryce is going to jump in a little bit and walk through a case study of how they're using some automation in segmentation to identify audiences, deploy campaigns, all that stuff. Here's what it typically looks like for most fundraisers. And I want to see if any of you identify with this. So let me know if you do. Usually where any type of targeting starts is in your CRM. So for an example, if you're trying to go, create an audience of people that you want to reach out to, maybe you're looking at, let's just say you're looking at people who gave to you last year. They're a new donor last year. They haven't given this year. And you're trying to pull a list of people to go send an email campaign to. Maybe you want to run some ads to them. Maybe you even want to do a direct mail drop and a whole bunch of stuff. Well, we got to go build that list. We got to go build that audience. And so we often start in our CRM because that's where all of our kind of core donor data lives. And when you go in your CRM, you run some sort of query. Sometimes, a more advanced CRM might have some of these audiences pre-built for you, but not many do. And usually there's more filters you want to throw on top of it. Oftentimes you end up in some kind of custom query and you just can't figure out, how do I get exactly what I need? Oftentimes you're going to go say, I want to suppress people who are maybe a mid-level donor, maybe a major donor because they're on a gift officer's portfolio. I want to only talk to people that are opted in for communication. There's all these different nuanced filters that go into building a list that oftentimes are really hard to get out of the CRM just through the native tools that you have. So where we end up is we export the closest thing that we can get. We throw it into a spreadsheet, whether it's Excel or it's a Google sheet, and then we do all the manual work. And maybe you don't do it yourself. Maybe you've got like a database person that does it, or someone else on your team that's just more inclined towards spreadsheets. And then you've got this manual process that is always, there's always opportunities for errors whenever you introduce a manual process related to data and data manipulation. You throw some filters on, maybe you accidentally leave one on that you didn't remember that you had turned on, or God forbid your rows get shifted or something when you're moving data around and then everything gets really messed up. There's all these opportunities for issues and errors when you have this manual process. But let's say we get through that, we get the list put together. We then have to go manually import it into an email tool or into an advertising tool or whichever fundraising platform that we're using for our outreach. But we're still not done. You might send your initial outreach, but what if we want to consistently be reaching out to these people, cultivating them? Well, then we go wait a week and then we do the same thing again and again and again. And we get on this kind of hamster wheel of just repeating this kind of manual targeting process over and over, seemingly forever. And this is not sustainable. And this is why a lot of us really struggle when it comes to the more deeper kind of one-to-one personalization in our communication. Is usually it takes a really big manual lift to get into these kind of deeper, more targeted communications. But those are the things that really are going to move the needle. And Bryce can attest to this, and we'll share some of that as we go here. So let me know in the chat if you identify with any of this. Are you feeling these types of issues in your work? Do you have a lot of manual, just kind of grunt work on your plate that slows you down? Let me know. Bryce, what do you see as you're working with a lot of different fundraisers and nonprofits? Do you see this type of thing playing out in their day-to-day workflow?
Oh, very, very much so. I see it in our day-to-day workflow. Before we partnered with Avid, I mean, again, sending out different Facebook ads, making sure that we do lapsed donors, things like that, targeting them with specific lapsed donor ads. But as soon as they make a gift, we have to go in, remove them from the list, re-upload the list, making sure that we're targeting the proper people. It's a lot of again, like you already mentioned, kind of download, upload
Yeah.
process.
Yeah, and anytime you have, again, that manual step in the process, there's always issues that come up. There's always opportunity for errors that, in some cases, could be actually really catastrophic if you get someone's name mixed up because your rows have moved around or something like that. That's probably worst case scenario, but that's the fear you live with if you're doing these things manually. I'm gonna put this out here just as kind of a teaser. We'll come back to this in a little bit. But I want to offer this out to you that, this is not something we do all the time at Avid. In fact, we very rarely do this, but we open up every now and again a little strategy session. I'd love if you're interested in this, you can book 30 minutes with an Avid expert to chat through some different automation ideas, kind of have a brainstorm session of what are some of those areas in your program, in your workflows that are bogging you down. Let's talk about what some of those are and see what's possible to actually be automated to give you time back and give you maybe life back, quite honestly, and help you be more efficient and effective. So I'm putting it out there. We'll come back to this at the end, but I want to just kind of tease this so you can think about it as we go throughout the day. I see some comments already coming in. Drew is saying, yes, there's a ton of reporting drudgery. We need to figure out how to streamline that. Cameron says CRM report filters can be a nightmare. Amy says manually tagging donors, very problematic. Bryce, you identify with all that stuff?
100% too. And it's also just, it's hardly ever just the CRM too. It's like, all right, CRM, email platform, ad system. It's, making sure that everything aligns into one spot is can be a pain point for sure.
Yeah, it's everything. And that's one of the reasons we need to figure out how do we get all these tools under one roof so they actually talk together. We can get rid of all this manual stuff in between that causes pain. So I mean, I think we feel why we need a new approach and we need to be able to automate some of these things, but I want to look at some of the fundraising kind of benchmark trends and data that I think also helps us see, wow, we need to start to really make progress on removing some of these manual things from our workloads, automating the right strategies to help us see better results. I used ChatGPT earlier this week to make this image that just cracks me up every time.
Love it.
Just more of a warning. We're going to look at some data here. So welcome to the Nonprofit Nerd Club, where we're going to look at a bunch of data, charts, and benchmarks real quick. I think this is funny. Like this is ChatGPT's interpretation of what I look like. It's not quite me. It's almost there. It's like we could be cousins or something.
It's pretty close, Yeah. You're related for sure.
Yeah, definitely related. I don't know that we're brothers, but I guess I'm going to stick with cousins there. Anyway, maybe if I put glasses on, we'd look closer, but I digress. Let's look at some data. I want to start here, and I've got 4 or 5 of these charts, so stick with me. We'll go through them pretty quickly. As we're talking about upgrades today, Bryce is going to share that case study around how they're upgrading donors is leading to greater retention rates. So I pulled some stats on what's happening with donor upgrade rates, specifically broad-based donors upgrading to mid-level donors, or others upgrading to major donors. And the trends are really, I don't know if they're shocking, but they're really interesting and concerning for sure. Mid-level upgrade rates are at a 5-year low. And as you well know, any fundraiser out there knows, certainly, like, the margins we're looking at are really small, right? We don't expect that, 40, 50% of our broad-based donors are going to upgrade to mid-level. We're looking at very slim margins, 0.21% in 2021 that we're upgrading to a mid-level donor. The scary part is how much that's fallen. It's basically been cut in half over a 5-year period, down to 0.12% in 2025. And we're looking at not year to date, we're looking at trailing 12 months for our data pros that are out there and wondering that. So that's concerning, right? We're seeing the same trend on the major donor side as well. I see Drew identifies as a nonprofit nerd as well. So welcome to the club. Major donor upgrades are in the same place. Again, really fine margins here. You're looking at a 0.03% upgrade rate in 2021. Well, it's down to a 0.02%. And you can see the trajectory of that falling. And obviously the change there is like into the thousands, not the hundreds here, but the change is happening and it's falling down. Now, it's, I think, easy for us to look at these trends and say, like, well, there's a lot of stuff out of our control. There's things fluctuating and lots of uncertainty with markets and economics and instability and all that kind of stuff. But the reality is it's our problem to solve still, because it's impacting our budgets, it's impacting our resources, it's impacting our ability to make future impact if we don't have sustainable revenue coming in. So those are some scary things. Bryce, any reactions to seeing those trends on the upgrade side of things?
Yeah, I think that's something that we probably see a lot as well when it comes to upgrades. One thing that we're seeing really kind of across the board for a number of our clients is number of donors, especially since COVID. Obviously, you have your COVID highs when it comes to fundraising there. We've seen kind of this steady decline, and it's really the last year we see still a steady decrease in number of donors, but we're seeing an increase in overall average gift and lifetime donor value, which is about, we've kind of hit the floor when it comes to overall revenue. We're starting to see finally it kind of turn back towards the positive side this year, which has been encouraging to see.
Yeah, that's really good. That's a huge encouragement. We're not done looking at charts, and there's still some more scary charts, but to know that there are people that are kind of cracking the code and finding the way through is hopefully an encouragement to everyone today. And again, you're going to share more about what those strategies look like.
Mm-hmm.
What we're seeing on just the total active donor count, so total number of donors giving to an organization per year, that's also following the same sort of path. It's on a 5-year decline. Most people saw, and Bryce, I'm sure you saw this in the organizations you work with too, is this, I've called it, and I've heard it called like the COVID bump. It was more like the post-COVID bump. Not that we were out of the woods yet on the pandemic, but after things started to settle a little bit, lots of people gave in droves in 2021. Yep. And then that fell back down to earth in 22, but then it's still been trickling down every year since. So active donors is on the decline, even though some donors are giving more, right, and helping to kind of offset that decline. Yep. But active donors are still on the decline.
That's exactly what we're seeing on our side as well. Yeah, donors are decreasing, average gift is going up.
And I know, like, Giving USA reports and stuff all kind of back that same sort of trend as well. And so there's lots of data to kind of prove this is happening, and which is concerning. If this was kind of a one-off, but other people are seeing increases or flat, it would be something to consider. But pretty much everyone who does any measurement in this space is kind of seeing these same sort of trends happening, which is cause for alarm and concern for us as fundraisers. Obviously, the same thing's happening on reactivation. We're almost there, and it's not all doom and gloom. We're going to look at some hopeful things in a little bit, but donor reactivation rates, they're at a 5-year low as well. This continues to trickle down. I've talked a lot this year about retention, and there's a little more variance here, right? You've got a little bit of an uptick like in 23 and 24, but then 25 we're kind of falling back down. So technically we're still at this 5-year low so far in 2025. But you got a few more kind of peaks and valleys, ups and downs, although they're little blips. They're like little hills, if you will. So concerns here in the data, concerns here in the trends. I'm convinced looking at these metrics and these benchmarks and other benchmarks as well, that us cracking the code as a nonprofit fundraising community on how we go bring our tech together and we automate a lot of strategies is one of the ways that we can go start to turn a lot of these things around. Because a lot of the way in 2025 that we're going to really engage people in a meaningful way and move them deeper into these philanthropic giving relationships is one-to-one. But we can't scale one-to-one, or at least we haven't been able to scale one-to-one. But now we have a lot of new technology at our disposal, at our fingertips, that allows us to start to scale one-to-one and automate a lot of these processes that maybe would have required more staff in the past. We can scale with tech. And so we're going to look a bit at that. And Bryce is going to share with us kind of a case study of how automation can help with this. Specifically, he's going to dive into this kind of automated micro donor upgrade strategy. And we'll define what micro donor is. It's not just like a $1 donor. There's bigger range in there, but he's going to walk through kind of this phased approach of how they've automated some of these communications to the segment of donors, leading to upgrades, leading to better retention. So Bryce, I want to hand it over to you. As I do that here, I see some comments coming in. Megan says, great data to help us move into the end of the year strategy. Yeah, all this is really interesting in light of year end coming as well. Kind of helps shift and shape where we might be going with digital strategy, at least. Cameron is saying, just curious, where is this data pulled from? Avid clients, nonprofits across the U.S. This data is pulled from a little over 130 nonprofit organizations that all are using Avid in some way, shape, or form. So this is the Avid data universe that we're seeing. But again, it's about 130 some organizations with, I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but a very large data set in terms of what it represents in overall revenue. So that's where it's coming from. So Bryce, you have the floor. Feel free to take it away and walk us through what you're actually doing to move the needle on some of these things.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Yeah, so I'll tell you just really a little a case study that we helped identify and kind of how we were able to implement specific strategies and things like that. Really with the help of Avid, honestly. And with that, we're able to increase overall retention about 200% for one of our clients specifically. This is a food bank client that we work with. So you already mentioned retention rates. You talked a little bit about that being at a 5-year low. And that was one area we had a quarterly meeting with one of our clients here. We were looking at specifically second year retention rate and how that's affecting, right? So second year meaning they made their first gift last year. That second year, how often are we retaining those? Specifically, we wanted to look at our broad-based donors, how they identified a broad-based donor is in a given year, they give $1,000 or less, right? What the retention rate was 21.3%. Just for reference, from a benchmarking standpoint, usually for those broad-based donors, we want to see that around 23%. So it was not quite at benchmarks, but not awful, right? So we said, okay, let's take a deeper look into this. What's causing that 21% retention rate? Why are we potentially losing almost 79% of those second year donors? Why are they not retaining? So we said, all right, let's dive into it a little deeper and look at our micro donors, knowing that these are our donors that give $100 or less in a given year. So they're giving that $20-$30 initial gift. They might align with the organization or with your nonprofit, but they're not fully committed yet, right? They just want to give that initial gift and kind of see what happens there. Expecting a retention rate to be low, it was 11%, which is a 47% decline. More red numbers here, not great. We'll eventually get to the positive stuff, I promise. So we were losing about 90% of those donors, right? 89% of those donors that were a micro donor that were coming on or falling off in that second year. So we said, man, what if we were to upgrade them, right? What if we were to create a specific plan to help move them from that micro donor of less than $100 to what we identified as a small donor, which is that $100 to $500 range, creating that more of an investment, feeling like they're more part of that organization. How does that affect our overall retention rate? And this is where we get to see the green numbers, the significant increase by doing that, by moving our donors, our second year donors from micro donors to small donors. we saw a 200% increase. Retention rate went from just under 12%, 11.8% to 33.8%, which is outstanding, right? And we're able to, utilizing Avid, identify these areas that we needed to focus on. But the question was, okay, we've now identified, okay, we need to start moving these micro donors to small donors, but how do we do that? Again, this is an Avid webinar, so I'm going to give Avid a big shout out here. It's one of the things that we internally love about Avid is they help us identify strategic areas that we can focus on and help grow our clients' overall fundraising program. But one of the even more important things outside of that is it helps us then deploy actionable next step items and automate those steps as well. So that's kind of what we did, right? Just for reference, our typical new donor cadence was, they make that first gift and we enroll them into an automated new donor welcome series. It's usually about 3 to 5 emails, takes about 2 weeks to go through that. Once they went through that new donor welcome series, we kicked them out and just enrolled them into our typical email cadence, right? They got the same emails everybody else was getting. But we said, you know what if we were to change that aspect up, take them through a different donor journey for the first 3 months and see if we can't move them from that micro donor, increase them up into that small donor. So that's what we did. We changed our stance. Rather than just being a 2-week series, we created a 3-month series that's really a part of 3 different automations. And obviously, with the use of Avid, if they ended up making that second gift or sign up to be a recurring donor, we kick them out and enroll them just in our typical email cadence. But that 3-month process, month 1 was they enrolled into a new donor welcome series. This is just really our standard new donor welcome series that's leans in heavily on cultivation, storytelling, reiterating the impact that their gift has already had, with a soft ask at the very end. But for the most part, it's just realigning the beliefs that we have and that the organization has, making sure that it is a good fit and help building that relationship. Month 2 was a second gift email series. So this one, while we still leaned in onto cultivation, it was more, we had more solicitation emails, direct ask emails. Again, what we love doing is telling real stories of real people, reiterating the impact. We find that helps really drive the needle with that, especially in a age where, again, AI and things like that is so prevalent. Telling real stories of real people makes a big impact there. This was, again, about a 3 to 5 email series that's really kind of over the course of about 7 to 10 days there to help get that second gift. And again, once they make that second gift, we automatically through automation remove them out of this specific series.
Can I ask a question about your series so far?
You may.
Are you asking at all for a gift within that initial new donor welcome series? Are there any asks in there? Or are you waiting until like month 2 to make that?
The last email in the welcome series, there's a soft ask.
Okay.
But it's primarily cultivation. Yep.
Gotcha. Cool. So you're mostly waiting till, like, what is it, the 30-day mark or something like that to really start to drive
exactly.
that second.
It's that 30-day mark. Hey, let's see if we can't get that second gift from them to help increase, again, that overall, if they gave that $25 gift, let's see if we can't get another gift to help move them. One, it shows commitment, and then also helping to get them into that small donor donor segment.
Cool. Okay. Thank you. Continue. Sorry.
Yeah, for sure. Love it. And then month 3 is just a recurring gift series, reiterating, one, the impact that they've already had with their gift, as well as emphasizing just the benefits of their recurring gift. And a lot of our clients have a specific recurring gift program. So reiterating that as well. Just knowing that, if they can give a gift of $10 or more a month, that automatically bumps them up from that micro donor to a small donor. Not to mention, you talk about retention rate for recurring donors. For this client, it was 89%. So, I mean, it's, heavily increases and affects really our overall retention rate. from that standpoint. So this was kind of our overall strategy, and again, really utilizing Avid to help identify that, as well as help implement it. Like I said, being able to deploy actionable next steps, really from a click of a button there, and see how that really affect overall retention rate.
Mm.
Being able to bump those micro donors up to small donors, increasing retention rate 200%. That's just one of many stories that we have, that we've been able to identify with the use of Avid. Um,
And
with
Bryce,
that,
you shared with me too. This isn't just like a one-off. This wasn't just one organization that kind of got lucky with the strategy. You've been doing this with several organizations, correct?
we have. Whenever we talk about the micro donor to small donor upgrade, that's not unique to Tarrant here. That's something that we've seen really across the board. The 200% increase is unique, obviously, to this case study, but in most cases, it's over 100%.
It's amazing.
Um, yeah. So again, really, and what it is, it's not the silver bullet of, hey, if we can get them to give $100 gift in a year, or not even $100 gift, cumulative giving $100 or more in a year,
Mhm.
they're more apt to give. What it is just reiterating trust within those donors, and that commitment of them continuing to give on a regular basis there.
Yeah. Well, if you have questions for Bryce, feel free to drop them in the chat. And if you want to just dive deeper and have a chat with Bryce and others on the Brad Cecil team, you can scan that QR code to get in touch. They've got some great ideas and strategies that can really help you drive growth. So I'd encourage you to do that. I do
No.
see a question from Tom where
Yep.
he's saying, and let's see if I can put this on the screen so we can all kind of see it here. Tom's asking, were the emails that were sent through Avid, were they sent through Avid or they sent through your CRM or HubSpot, or what kind of tools? What was the
Uh,
tech stack like here?
yeah, so they were using their CRM was Razor's Edge, and then their email platform was Mailchimp. So they were with the use of Avid, connecting those two through pathways there, being able to automate those, to use Razor's Edge for their CRM and then Mailchimp for their email platform.
And that's where Avid really sits. We're not trying to go replace your email tool. We're not trying to replace your CRM. We're actually trying to, I've been using the word lately, like supercharge all those things by making them actually talk to each other and bringing them all together. So we kind of sit on top of all of those tools to give you certainly the insights with all that data actually talking to each other, but then also power the segmentation and pushing those lists out to the right channels. But there's also even creative tools in there to actually auto generate campaigns for you to put your creative together for some of these different type, like a new donor welcome series and different types of campaigns that then you can go push through your MailChimp, your Constant Contact, whatever your email tools are. So that's kind of where Avid lives, sort of in the larger tech stack. Cameron is asking, and I'll throw this up on the screen as well. Cameron is asking this: how many emails were sent in total? Was it multiple within each month? Is it just one per month? What does that cadence look like?
Yeah, so it's multiple within each month there. So our new donor welcome series typically is about 3 to 5 emails, and it's spanned out over about a 2-week time period. And then that second gift email series is about the same, 3 to 5 emails. Shorter time period though. We usually do about 7 to 10 days, just to help reiterate the sense of urgency with those. And then the last recurring donor series is a little longer. 5 to 6 emails, depending on the client there. That's over that really about a month period.
Gotcha.
So
Cool.
in total, between the 3 months, they're getting 15 plus emails.
Mhm. Okay, that's good to know. I know there's some hesitation sometimes with like how many do we send right away, and people don't want to be over like burdensome with the amount of emails. And I think most people are surprised with just how many emails that you can send within those first few weeks of someone coming on board.
That's a great question, honestly, that we get all the time, and I don't want to veer too far off, but it's like, all right, how many emails is too many? And the answer is there's every nonprofit's unique. I think as long as you're continuing to see great results when it comes to open and really click and engagement rates, then that's just showing that, hey, people want to hear from you. It's okay if
Yeah.
we email them multiple times in a week.
Yeah. And I've seen some interesting data too about just like the engagement rate that someone has within their first few weeks of signing up for some sort of email subscription or donating, making some kind of transaction, and then the fall off over time. Like the best time to reach them is right away,
Yeah.
and sometimes it's a volume game of just making sure that you show up in the inbox at the right time. Well, I know there's more thoughts and more questions, and feel free to keep those coming in. I want to show you, especially because there was kind of a question about where does Avid sort of sit in that tech stack? Is it sending the emails? What's it doing? I have a little video I want to play for you just to help you see what some of those tools look like behind the scenes that are powering some of this automation that Bryce is using and the Brad Cecil team and other organizations are using to drive some of that automation and segmentation. So I'll put that up, but if you've got further questions, feel free to keep those coming in the chat, and then we'll get back to those here in just a moment. So let's buckle up for a little video.
In 200 feet, turn left. Speed camera ahead. Arrived.
So there's a little taste for you of what Avid can start to do as your fundraising operating system. That's a quick little look at what we call Avid Pathways, which is that tool that kind of stitches everything together and pushes out the right segmentation at the right time to the right channels, everything from your email tools to your advertising tools and more. So if you want to spend a little bit of time with someone here at Avid to do this little brainstorm strategy session of what types of things could you start to automate, we'd love to spend some time with you. Again, this is not something that we do all the time. We've got limited availability for these. So make sure you take advantage of it here today and right away. You can scan that QR code. I can put a link up on the screen as well for you. But we'd love to have a conversation with you, do a little strategy session on what can you automate to build some more efficiency into your day-to-day work to ultimately help you raise more money and be more effective so you can have greater impact. That's really where our heart is. So again, scan that, head to that link, and you can book some time for that strategy session with us. If there are additional questions on the work that Bryce and Brad Cecil have been doing, or even just general automation questions, or really kind of ask us anything if you'd like to, drop those in the chat, and we'd love to spend some time with you in the remaining time that we have. Bryce, as we wait to see if there's any other thoughts or any other questions, what are your thoughts as you're kind of approaching year end now? I mean, year end is coming up faster than anybody wants it to, probably. So as it relates to like automation, what kinds of things are you thinking about just in your fundraising strategies as you're building those out with different organizations?
I will say I was encouraged, or I'm encouraged to see how things go from a fundraising standpoint this year end. We for those that are in Texas, we just finished North Texas Giving Day, was last week, September 18th. And it was really encouraging to see the response. A lot of our clients, as we just covered for the first little bit of this, seeing overall declines and trends. North Texas Giving Day, we saw increase in number of donors, increase in gifts, an increase in revenue. I think we raised a total of like 78 million this year, which is setting a new record high. So usually we use that as a good indicator of how things are going to perform come Giving Tuesday and year end as well. So encouraged to see it.
Yeah, well, that's good to hear. I mean, I've been doing a little bit. We've got some content coming soon, some benchmarking and even some strategy guides for year end. So I've been diving into that world even this week. And some of the trends, what we saw today, some of the trends on what's happening in year end are concerning as well. But that's not to say that there's not room for hope and optimism, because there's some underlying things that are kind of bubbling up, especially on the digital side, that are leading to growth that we can kind of double down on. So I'm glad you're seeing some of that too, and some of those early signs it could be a good year-end season. There is a question from Tom that I'm going to put up on the screen. Tom's wondering, how long are the emails that you're sending in that series? How long are they typically? They have a big internal debate over the length of communication. That sounds so familiar. I'm sure everybody resonates with that.
Tom, I love this question because this is a debate that I think a lot of people have internally, and I am on the side of, I think copy is king, right? I think as long as it is great copy, we're reiterating the message and the impact. That has to take space to do that, right? So at times the emails can be a lot longer. Like I said, typically we lead into a lot of storytelling, which can take up a paragraph or two paragraphs at time, to help reiterate and motivate them to actually click and actually make that gift. We've done some testing on that before, and I would be happy to send you some of those test results from that as well. Also, too, remember who we're emailing at times too. Obviously, this one's a new donor series, so we do need to probably reiterate the message a little more, which will lend it to a longer copy. We've also tested into, hey, those that are already current donors, active donors, can we get by with shorter copy on the email or shorter copy on the actual donation page as well, because that motivation is already there. So it also depends on who we're emailing. But yeah, I would say typically we lean into longer copy there.
Gotcha. And that's what I've seen be effective as well. Generally speaking, is the kind of longer form. Unless, as you're saying, someone already has that kind of high motivation. We're just trying to get them to the point of actually taking an action.
Yep.
Tom threw this follow-up thought and question in there too. Do you have any further insights that you can unpack? Like, what is some of that messaging that you're playing with in these micro donor conversations that's moving someone forward?
Yeah, I think it's really, and it's really good. And you have your welcome series, which is pretty standard, reiterating the impact that the donors made, as well as the mission of your organization. I want to make sure that we're aligning in our overall beliefs between the donor and the nonprofit there. I would say that second series, right, that second gift, trying to get that second yes from them is one, adding a sense of urgency to the email, but then two, telling impact. Real stories. And again, we work with a lot of food banks in the area, so telling uplifting stories about how one, the donors already helped make an impact with their gift, and because of that, you can tell impact stories. But I would lean into storytelling in those emails to help move those needles as well.
Gotcha. That's a great word. Well, Bryce, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for the past 45 minutes or so to dive into what's going on in donor upgrades and retention and how can we use some automation to grow. Again, if you want to book that strategy session to brainstorm, what are some of those ways that you in your own organization can start to automate some of that grunt work in your fundraising to make you more efficient, make you more effective? We'd love to have that chat. So you can hit the button and book your strategy session or scan the QR code. Bryce, any parting thoughts or final encouragement for everyone who's joined us today?
I think that's really, honestly, I love having these types of conversations, Tom. Some of your questions I thought were phenomenal. If you or anybody else on this call has other questions, you can definitely visit our website, cecilcommunication.com, or just email me directly. Like I said, I love having these types of conversations. It's just bjohnston@cecilcommunication.com. Love to talk through, seeing what's working for you guys and what's working for us as well.
Amazing. Well, Bryce, thank you again for your time. Really appreciate your thoughts, your guidance, your wisdom here today, and your inspiration for us all to figure out how do we start to make some inroads on some of these concerning metrics, improving upgrade, improving retention, and more. Thank you again to everyone who has joined us and stuck around for our full time here today, asking good questions. We'll be doing lots more of these, so keep your eye out for the next Avid webinar. We're rooting for you here, and if you ever want to get in touch and chat more about Avid and what it can do for you, I'll actually send you a follow-up email, but I think you know where to find me. Find us on LinkedIn or go to avidai.com. So thank you, everybody. Take care, and we will see you next time.
Bye.